record.
כן חייב.
לא, יהיה בעיה עם הסאונד ובלגנים. אין, אנחנו לא קוסט.
Okay, so let's talk
הנה,
about.
רואים את שירה.
הנה, יפה.
Alright.
Silence me. Okay.
Just love you.
Why is the sexual? So I'm going to start with a question to you all, so you think about it for a second. Why is the sexual impulse so dominant among humans? Not just humans, but
Survival.
survival. It's like biological needs.
Just a quick check-in. Sophia, Moshe, Jess, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Cool, okay.
Is that recording?
Yes, recording. So why the sexual impulse is so dominant among humans?
Eden said survival needs.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Power.
Power.
Physical needs.
Physical needs.
We're biologically evolved to explore the aspects of our bodies with our fingers and stuff that other animals don't have.
Interesting point. Yeah, so we see in society, in our culture, that there are many fields of life, but sex is something that is always in the center of everything. If we see like advertising or movies or every cultural, basically everything that is around culture will have something around sexuality in one way or another. And it's almost provocative the way that it comes to us from all directions. So the wisdom of Kabbalah explains that in a pretty simple way. Altogether, the wisdom of Kabbalah is kind of like, we can say even erotic, with the descriptions and the symbols that they use. It's something that is even very directly sexual. If you read the Ari writings, then you will see it like porn, basically. It's very direct.
Very pornographic, how they describe and the images and the creation and the creator and how the light penetrates reality and all the interactions between ourselves and others.
Wow.
Yeah.
And basically we're going to learn why. So the initial spiritual reason for the urge for sex derives from basically the infinite light. So we talked about it in the first lessons.
So there's vessel.
There was vessel, Or and Sof. The Or and Sof is the creator of everything. And at the beginning we had like one soul, one vessel, infinite light. The vessel contained the light. Then the vessel felt like a shame, a bird of shame. We learned about it. Pushed the light from itself because he wanted to earn the light eventually.
And be like the light.
And be like the light. But this first state of fulfillment of one vessel and infinite light.
Who can remember what it's called, by the way? That first state of the androgynous one soul, before the Big Bang happened, before we had the Shbirat HaKelim, it has a name, which we know, but we don't often think that that is what it means on the secret level. Remember? So it's called Adam Kadmon. That situation, it's the original state of one soul. It's like the situation in the story of Adam and Eve. That's like the Garden of Eden.
It's also Kadmon because it's previously, it called them, but it will be the end eventually as well, because we're deriving to get into this state again, into this oneness. So it's also Kadum, but also Kidma. But
the root of the letter Kadmon in Hebrew, it's also the same root for progress. So something that's ancient and something that's progressive, they have the same root. And it comes to show us that time is not linear, that it's like a circle. This is why kadum and kadima and kidma are actually like the same thing.
It's like forward.
Yeah, it's forward and backwards.
And backwards.
The same word for forward and backwards.
And in that sense, sexuality always pushes forward, you know, generations, bring kids, and the core of it, the essence is the perfect reunion eventually that we want to achieve with the light. That's the spiritual essence behind the desire for sex, basically.
So also Kabbalah, we know the structure of the tree of life.
I will share it on the TV now. It's
But what we know is that we have two sides in the tree of life. We have the right side and the left side and the middle. The right side is the masculine side. The left side is the feminine side. And the middle is the synthesis between the two. And that's like the child of the union. So the feminine aspect of the tree of life, you see it on the screen in a second, represents the capacity. Also, if you have any questions, because you haven't been in all the lessons Sean and Ayal, so feel free to ask about the tree of life or anything. Feminine side, left side. Ma. Madison. In the tree of life, yeah.
before.
It depends how you look at it.
Stick to it.
From one side of the tree.
Wait, before we get to the tree of life.
Yeah, before the tree of life, we're just talking about the feminine aspect, what it stands for. So the feminine aspect is basically the capacity and desire to be fulfilled. And it doesn't mean like gender-wise. I'm not talking about like women. I'm talking about feminine aspect.
Like the earth.
Yes, exactly. We all have both sides. We have the masculine and we have the feminine. So our feminine side is the desire to be fulfilled with pleasure, with satisfaction, with certainty, with purpose. And the masculine aspect represents the willingness to give. It wants to penetrate and give something.
Interesting.
Masculine is to go out, לפרוץ דרך ולהביא
Actually,
spread.
Right.
So maybe
Now-
with feminine.
not my experience.
More than giving we learned that the giving is not really always. We had the lesson when we talked about the true meaning of giving. It's not always like giving, you know, I take something. Giving it's more of ashpa, to influence. I can influence by not giving anything to you and saying, no, go away. Yeah, I will influence you anyway. I'll give you inspiration of how to put boundaries, but it's not, I didn't give you anything really. But the purpose of true giving is to influence, is that the other gets something from you, get value, get fulfillment in a way. Obviously, it can be.
If we imagine it on the most simple form, it's like a line that goes out, like a genital of a male, basically. And that line is just going from one point and it wants to reach to a goal. It wants to deliver something. That's
And the feminine is a circle.
and exactly. And the feminine is a circle. So the feminine is like a complete, it's whole. It's a circle that is containing the perfection in itself. But when it's only inside its own circle, it's going in an endless loop, infinite loop. So when the masculine energy comes and goes into the middle of that circle,
Destroys everything.
that's
Ma.
It releases the feminine to be free. And the same for the masculine. When the masculine is just a line, like imagine like an arrow that is not pointed to the target. It's just flying in the air. It doesn't have a purpose. So the feminine and the masculine, they need each other in order to be released from loop into infinity, basically.
And it's my favorite word. אין השערה. זה דot.
And a sour.
And a Sarah. And
Yeah,
how,
Is a line, is a middle, is a dot in the circle and the line.
yes, you're right. And we're gonna actually talk about it. The and a Sarah is the middle.
Yeah. איפה סופיה?
Sophia is
yeah.
there.
בצד.
Okay.
אז יהיה בשחור.
She's just a voice. So מה?
Yeah.
love you. פה עם הכובע הזה של הסייב דוד עשה.
הלכתי להליכה, אבל יש גשם, אז חזרתי. לא צריך כובע בכלל.
עין השערה, כן.
So we have the feminine and the masculine, the plus and the minus, and we basically that form of the plus and the minus and what they create in between them is the form of everything in the world. Every single thing that we see have the same structure, and it's also the electric circuit. So this is the structure of the tree of life as well.
The feminine, basically, this feminine and masculine is qualities that each one of us, on the emotional level, each one of us has. So every time, in every interaction, if someone's getting fulfilled, receiving value from someone, satisfaction, certainty, purpose, pleasure, anything, basically the person who receives embodying the feminine in that interaction. Because he receives something, he let someone else fulfill his desire, even if it's just, like food, whatever. It doesn't have to be sexual. And the masculine, is the other person who influence.
Yeah, it's not gender based. It's energy based. Exactly. So we have the middle between Sfirat Chokhmah and Sfirat Bina. Who knows what's the name of the Sfira that is in the middle between them? Bina v'Chokhmah. Maybe we can see it all.
I'm a bit struggling with the two screens here.
I don't know why, but I want to say Chesed, but maybe it's not related.
לא, Chesed is a Sfira on the right masculine side, but it's not in between. So we have, if this is Bina, this is Chokhmah. In the middle, there is a Sfira. Anyone knows the initial of Chabad? Ma?
בינה דעת.
Bina Da'at. So Da'at,
That is like consciousness.
so that is a very mysterious Sfira.
You can see it now on the screen.
Sfira.
Sfira is the
Union.
energy center.
Union.
Exactly. So
Eret in a dot.
you know how in the Bible, sometimes when they want to describe a union between two people, basically when they want to describe sex, they will say, הוא ידע אותה.
והאדם ידע את חווה אשתו.
והאדם ידע את חווה אשתו, ותאהב את הלב בטלת.
לא, זה סרט, זו הזדמנות. סרט אדיר.
לא,
אני לא יכול לתת.
Okay, so we said there is the feminine, the masculine. That is the place where the union happens. In the middle, when Bina and Chokhmah are meeting.
You see, it's a bit like grayed out or faded. The light blue in the middle at the top, between the red and the blue. This is that. I can actually.
Are you going to talk about also the elements and how they interact? Because it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this Sfira is the result. That is the result of the union, and that is sometimes you will see some tree of life that don't have this Sfira, because it's like a secret. It's like a mystery. It's not revealing itself in some.
And it's not stand by itself. It only appears when Chokhmah and Bina are in the perfect union. basically when there's a zivug between each one of them, between both of them.
So the masculine energy, the purpose of the masculine energy is to penetrate the feminine circle. And I'm talking now and not about sex, on an energetic level of everything that happens in the universe.
Basically, each will get into that, but all the relationships between the energy centers, between the spherot, it's zivugim, it's unions. They all need to penetrate each other in a way for the light to be fully revealed in the vessel.
Yeah, if we look at this structure, it's like a plumbing system, basically. We have light that's coming like water. Think about water coming from above. And that light goes through different energy centers, like chakras as well. And eventually it needs to arrive to the gutters, which is our world, the malchut that is under the bivim. It's called the bait b'tachtonim.
שכל השיט, בגלל החום.
But yeah, basically it's like the lowest. And think about what is the lowest place on earth.
A hill?
But physically,
on earth. The Dead Sea.
yeah. The Dead Sea would be like the lowest of the lowest.
And that's where Sdom was.
Yes, exactly. And do you know what they did in Sdom? What was the... מה זה
מעשה סדום?
מעשה סדום זה אנאלי.
נכון? So that's the asshole of the world, basically. Because it's the bottom of the bottom.
Wow. It's a whole new branding for the Dead Sea.
The bottom of the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah. It has a very negative association, but
It's a beautiful place.
it's a beautiful place.
Must visit.
It also smells like...
Must visit triangle.
And then
We got some mud.
we'll get some product to put some shit on your face.
They're actually raping it at the moment,
Okay.
so it's pretty...
Yeah,
Okay.
but basically it doesn't mean that it's negative. It means this place has the most potential because it's like if you see the tree of life like a mirror, then the thing that is equivalent to Malchut is Keter. It's like the highest round that we have on the tree of life. So Malchut has the ability to do the best tikkun, to do the best correction, because it's the biggest desire to receive.
That's the ultimate manifestation of the vessel, of the willing to receive.
Yeah. So the male is penetrating the circle. The circle needs the masculine energy in order to be released from that infinite loop. As well, we said the line, the masculine needs the feminine, so it will have a purpose. So it will have a direction. It will know where it's going. This is why they need each other, and the best result is to create the union, which will bring a fruit, and that's that. And that's like a child, like a divine child. And the correct connection, according to Kabbalah, is when it's regardless of genders, it's when this dynamic happens, when the masculine gives what it's supposed to give and the feminine gives what it's supposed to give, and then there's harmony.
And then there's abundance. You think about it even at work, someone is missing something. I need someone to fix my TV, and I call a technician. He brings me, I give him money, abundance. There's a connection. And every time someone is fulfilling other person's needs, there is some union that happens there, which is a potential for abundance.
Yeah. And that's also a reflection of how everything is built, because we said there was the infinite light and we are vessels. So we are like being vessels, we're being like the feminine aspects of the creation, because we are what we want is to be fulfilled. Exactly. We want to be fulfilled. The light is like the masculine aspect because it needs to fulfill us and like penetrate us.
That's how we called in the Zohar Knesset Israel.
It's like individual or...
Knesset Israel is all of us, basically humanity. We're Knesset from the word kinus, lekanes, into us, gather the light into us. Israel, it's Yashar El. It's when we are centered, all of us, we find our center as humanity, we are ready to receive the full amount of light.
Aligned with God.
Yeah. And we said before, Israel doesn't mean Jewish. It means a certain energy, essence of being spiritual and being ready to go through a transformation, a spiritual transformation. That's the definition of Israel. Cookies and ducks. That's what I heard.
It's like a sangha.
מה זה סנגה? What is that?
No? It's like a community
Ah,
Of spiritual
of devotees.
mm.
but moving in the same direction.
Okay.
Could be meditating over these.
Yeah. Yeah, so exactly, yeah. So Israel should be like the Sangha, the spiritual community that's, yeah. The lowest amount of people, the minimum amount of people that can do the transformation and be like an elevator of, create like an elevator that will bring a lot of light is 10, according to Kabbalah. Equivalent to minyan, yeah. Equivalent to the Sfirot.
So basically,
Okay.
Ma?
No, I want to ask why like it's men that do it, but maybe it's not relevant.
Yeah, that's already like religious.
yeah,
Okay.
But basically it's people like
Yeah.
yeah.
coming together.
So back to the sexual urge. Even if you're not aware of that, sex is embedded in everything. Like it's fraud.
The fraud. It's a good one. He would say it's a plitafodium.
Yeah. Fraud is it? As he explained that, it's like from the evolution perspective, it's the urge for life, basically. And it's the most powerful expression of the vessel, one of the most powerful expression of the vessel, as a desire to receive. We learned that this tree of life and other maps represent the vessel, and the sex is at the bottom, you know, also in our body. And the next topic will be looking at the tree of life as the human body. And when we look at the human body, the sexual organs are at the bottom. And basically most of our, you know, animalistic strongest desires are at the bottom. In the head, like what desires? We get some thoughts, we don't even want them, we're not desiring them, we're just going there. But when we really want something, it's like when we want to take a shit, eat something, have sex, it's like everything is in the bottom.
So that's the ratzon. That's what the ratzon is the most
Yeah, Sophia?
dominant.
It's interesting all the things that you're saying, because I agree with like it resonates with me, but it also doesn't, because like you say, Israel is not Israel but the spiritual center. Also sex or the desire is not necessarily a physical one. The physical form is the most animalistic form that we have, but it's a desire to become one, to continue, to expand, to experience ultimate love and light. It's not necessarily for me the physical, physical expression of a female genital and a masculine genital becoming one.
Definitely. I said that one of the most powerful manifestations, like it's eventually the only desire we have, and as we started, is to connect back to the light. That's the deepest and strongest desire ever of humanity. So yeah, I agree with you.
We're just starting with the primitive animalistic kind of sex, of the one that Freud was talking about, but we will get to what we're talking about, which is the spiritual sex, or the
And
emotional.
also the way you said like kidma and kedem, that everything can either be what it is or the opposite of it. So also everything you're saying to me can also be the opposite, and especially with sex, it's very dominant. Like it can be giving or it could be the ultimate taking and abuse as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Malchut, which is the ultimate taking or kind of receiving, the lowest part, we will learn that it's very similar to Keter eventually.
Yeah, because it's like a mirror. And you're right, every coin has two sides. There's a dark side of every energy. But on the most basic level, the connection happens between atoms that goes into molecules, and everything starts with a connection of the two that combine and creates a union. That is the basic building stone of reality.
And at the peak of the development, eventually, as we urge for sex for new generations, eventually we intend to strive towards the perfect union, the spiritual union, which you just talked about, Sophia, the union with the light. And
But you have to start with the primal. Like you need to eat and you need to have children.
that's
the
our,
same.
yeah, that's our way
Yeah.
to bring the light in this realm. We are not living in the 9 other worlds or 4 or 3 that dimensions, the spiritual dimensions with the angels and all the spiritual entities. We live here in this world within our bodies now, and it's like ishtalmut. It's like how's it in English?
School.
It's like a school that our soul is coming for to
Internship.
practice. Yeah, to learn these things and to reveal the light here. And how we do it is by using the desires that we have here for food, for sex, for everything. And
But what we want to aspire to as humans, even if we're not aware, is eventually to have a proper vessel that could contain the big amount of the divine light. And that will be a state that we call like redemption or Geula. What is Geula, redemption? Is when we all act as one big vessel. When we combine our vessel, we build a huge
rectify.
rectify.
The tikkun. It's like we learned that we were one soul, one vessel, pushed the light, and then we had shvirat kelim, breaking of the vessels, and now this reality is just a lot of fractals. Each one of them is a vessel, and the whole universe is a vessel, same structure, and we do our correction by each one of us doing his own tikkun and together eventually. But what we aspire for, as you said, it's like the perfect union, which, and the difference between what we had at the beginning and what we will get to when we will have this union again, is that this time we reach it out of a conscious self-choice. So basically, it's like a kid that his father make him food, and at some day he said, "Actually, I want to make my own food. You know, like I want to create it."
And I also want to give it to you, Father.
So it's like reclaiming your autonomy.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's the DNA of the creator that exists in the vessel. Because the vessel was created from the creator. So we have this feature, you know.
So at the end of times, or like the Geula will be a situation in which we build the proper vessel. Everyone builds it together, and it will be like a situation where if you need something, another person comes and fulfill your desire. If they need something, you come and fulfill their desire. It will be playing on the masculine, feminine polarities for other people easily. That would be perfect situation, because then our vessel will be prepared to receive the divine lights, and that will be the best union. That will be like the ultimate union. One big vessel, the light penetrates, and then there's wholeness, completeness, perfection.
Spiritual network basically contains like singles that aspires to benefit each other, like cells in a body that like perfectly operate together.
Like mushrooms under the ground.
Yeah,
like trees that
exactly.
with each other.
Mycelium.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything is in harmony, and basically, in order to get to that state, each one of us need to be able to connect to his masculine side, his feminine side, and be able to express them consciously when they need to. So when we find our center, when we find our balance, we know how to use or play the right role in each interaction.
Yeah. And there's a beautiful quote here. It's in Hebrew, but I'm sure you will understand. Most of you will understand it. You want to read it all?
You read it.
Mm-hmm. So one quote לא, אני אקריא רק את השני.
את השני, כן.
כי השני הרבה יותר יפה.
השני יפה.
קריא רק את השני.
יש, אוקיי, הראשון אני אקריא. The first one from the זוהר, וכשהאור הזה מתעורר, הכל בחיבור, בזיווג, הכל באהבה, הכל בשלמות. That's a simple one.
And then the other one is, ולא חסר לך כלום, אלא לצאת בשדה אשר ברכו השם, וללקט כל אלו האיברים המדולדלים שהתדלדלו מנשמתך, ולצרף אותם לגוף אחד. ובגוף השלם הזה ישרה אדוני שכינתו בתוכו בקביעות, בלי הפסק כלל. והמבוע של תבונה רבה, ונחלים עליונים של אור, יהיו כמעיין שלא נפסק. בכל מקום שתיתן עיניך בו, יתברך. זה בעל הסולם, הרב יהודה אשלג.
וואו, איך מגיעים לשם?
I like the both.
בסולם? סתם.
Both
So,
sentences.
that is like the end of times. That would be the Geulah. We will get there because we are always evolving and we building better vessels with time.
That's
And
why the children are also better. Most time they're like our model son should like it.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like the upgrade.
Yeah, that's great.
2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which of those quotes are you end?
So it means that in that state of that we talked about, the redemption state, it's like you have nothing is missing anymore. You go into a field. It's not a field, but it's like an electromagnetic field.
השדה שברכו השם, every time there's the word שדה in the Zohar, which means like field. On the simple level, it can sound like field of grass. But
I love
basically,
it. That
it's-
it's also feel-
It's the field.
Yeah.
But it's also the field, the electromagnetic field. And then you like collect all the different organs that were missing in your soul in order for your soul to be complete. So it's like we're all organs of one body. And the end of times will be when we realize that. And then when we meet people, we see people, we come to connection with people, it's like we just putting back organs into our body.
And in this one body, this one complete body, Yashre Adonai will land God or will be present.
The divine light will be present.
שכינתו בתוכו בקביעות בלי הפסק כלל. Constantly without stopping, without blockages.
Like a never-ending orgasm.
Yeah, basically an ultimate orgasm, supreme orgasm. And creeks, rivers of light will flow into the body like מעיין שלא נפסק, like a lake that never ends. Lake. No?
And also water is something that is very interesting in that context because we said this is like a plumbing system. What our job is to open the pipes in order for the light to come and make sure that our pool is also
Strong enough to
Strong
hold this
enough.
water.
exactly. That is building the vessel. And all the tubes that you see is the Hebrew letters, the channels between every energy center is a Hebrew letter, which is an energy, certain energy. So we have 10 sfirot, 22 Hebrew letters. Together they create 32 Netivei Alev.
נתיבי תבונה. 32 in Gematria, in Hebrew, lev.
Lev. 32 is heart. That's because every word has a numerical value in Hebrew. So basically we need to open the pipes and water, like think about also sexuality in the physical way. Should we talk about the different temples?
You went with that. Tree of life. The Kabbalists call it like מים נוקבים, like awakening the water. נוקבים is like נקביים, the feminine water that will flow into us. And as we see, the right side is water. The right side represents how the light is flowing into us like water, like waterfall, like rain from above. And the left side is how goes back up, we will get to it.
But think about even the term לעורר מים נוקבים. Like if you think about it in a sexual way, לעורר מים נוקבים, it's like to awaken the waters of the feminine. So sexually, it basically means to make the water flow in the body of the feminine.
Make her wet.
Yes.
So,
Literally.
Thank you, Dawn, for that
Try to be subtle, but
extra explanation.
and that's like the Kabbalist. Okay, so Jewish religion will say it's very dangerous to be sexual because it takes you away from working the divine. It's removing you from the journey to God. Kabbalists will say the opposite. Kabbalists will say this is the key. By the sexuality, you have the key to know the divine from first hand. This is the key for you, like Tantra. It's the way to reach, to get the downloads. It's like opening your body, like if your body is this system, it's opening the plumbing, and then the light can come. So, should we talk?
So
about
yeah, we'll talk about now the tree of life as human body, because we can look at this as a universe, we can look at this as a household or even as a company. It's a system, and how system works and all the entities within a system work together in harmony, and basically a fractal. But the most tangible and proper way will be talking about it as a human body now.
So human body, we have head, we have heart, and we have pelvic area.
We have this, the main channels that we transfer energy from one each other are the third eye, the heart, and the genitals. Also,
this is Keter, Tiferet will be the heart, Keter will be head, Tiferet will be the heart, and Yesod will be the genitals.
There is, if we look at Google Maps and we see countries and cities, but we zoom out, we see continents. This is the most micro way to look at it. Not most, actually, we can go even deeper. But there's like bird's eye view, which is less, which is divided to 4, basically. Which the first one is Keter. The second one is Chokhmah. The third one is Binah. Then all the 6 here are considered together as Tiferet, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod.
They are called Zair and Pin.
Also, they called Zair and Pin.
מה זה?
Zair and Pin.
זעיר אנפין?
Zair. Yes, Zair and Pin and Arich and Pin. It's like different areas of the tree of life.
And
but
it's we'll talk about it at some point.
Lesson.
And Malchut. And Malchut. Basically, Keter, Chokhmah, Binah, Zair and Pin, or Tiferet, the whole middle, and Malchut. You also know Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, represent the same thing. Yud, Yova. Yud is Chokhmah. The point of the top of the Yud is Keter. The Yud is Chokhmah. Hey, Binah. Vav, Zair and Pin. And Hey, the bottom. Second Hey, Malchut.
So why did we say we have these 3 centers? Also, I want to share something that happened to me and Bill once in a workshop, a Tantra workshop. We had an exercise in which another random person from the room needed to like penetrate us energetically through one of the centers.
Not the genital.
Yeah,
was about
not the genital, just third eye or heart. And I chose third eye. I don't know what you chose.
I chose my heart, and then like to be penetrated to my heart.
Yeah. So I chose to be penetrated to my third eye. And I was very skeptic. I was like, the person just needs to sit in front of me and look at me and direct his all energy and intention towards my third eye and to awaken it, like to penetrate it, and something will happen.
Facilitation, guidance, but
but basically it's just me and another person.
10 minutes.
And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, let's get it over with. And all of a sudden, I could feel like a laser beam coming into this area, and my head started to vibrate. like crazy. And my fingertips were tingling and everything like became very ecstatic and my body was just like tripping and in ecstasy. I had to stop her for a second. I told her just wait a minute because it was overwhelming even. And there was no touch, nothing, not even words, nothing, just her intention and me being there ready to receive it. And I was shocked. And after that, I told Do what happened to me, and he said I had the same thing.
Yeah, I felt like my heart literally like get torn here, that my chest. I have a hole here, and just something just flowing. I cannot stand. I'm crying. I'm laughing. I'm like shaking.
That's why I felt when I got a tattoo here. I'm serious. When my tattoo here, when it's like touched there, I had the worst and the happiest feelings and the most strongest energy coming out.
It's very. It makes sense because maybe the guy who did it for you didn't only put his pencil on your chest.
So
he
much
put
intention.
all intention,
But as
third
well,
eye
think about it.
concentration, visioning. You know, when you're visioning, it's your third eye. You
Oh, he definitely did it. 105%.
And your body was like a canvas, was like a feminine, and his instrument was like the masculine, penetrating your body. So it created that tattoo, which is the result of the union. But there was a union because everything is a union.
I felt when he did it like in Harry Potter when the Dementor is coming and he sucks
Yeah,
your soul.
exactly.
That's the feeling that I had. Where's my Patronum?
Yeah. Feel you. So
So
we divided.
Patronum is a Kabbalah.
We, let's simplify. Let's simplify and basically let's talk. We talked about head, mind work. We talked about heart work in the last two sessions, and we can basically divide the body to three, top three: head, mind, heart, or torus, and pelvis. And we can also divide it to three: left, right, and middle. So if you look at it as a matrix, it's like 9, 3, 3. Can you imagine that? Like a square. And when the top, it's basically you get like 9 parts.
just hold it.
We will.
So
Yes. So we have no. Right? So we have the top, like the horizontal 3, 1, 2, 3, and we have the from up to down.
vertical.
Vertical.
Can
Okay, now it's better. And basically, we can think about it as the 10 sefirot. What we get? We get 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
This is head.
Whereas the 10 is the whole.
Yeah.
If we look at it as human body, we see the head, the torus, and the pelvis, and we also have the left, right, and center. And I'm not sure if you can see there. See? And yeah, it's being mirrored, so it's not ideal in Zoom, but you can imagine.
Next time, come to the class.
רגע, למה הורדת את זה? Okay, so the right side, this is the right side. Right side is about expansion. We said it's like the movement out. That's the masculine energy, the movements out and the plus. And Mando?
Yeah, also,
And
you can see
it comes from like infinity to our world. It's like a waterfall. And it's if you think about it, it's like hug everyone, love everyone, be out there, involve everyone, like water the people around you. And the upper part, head.
So we have expansion and contraction. We have like the what she was explaining, expansion, all inclusive, yeah, come mikasa sukasa, you know, all, people who are like very like sharing, caring, hugging, and we have on the other side the contraction, like separation, which represents like going back to the source, boundaries. Okay, there's me and there's you, and sometimes I need to myself, like time alone. We're not one, and the left side is also about freedom and individuality, because we're still living in this realm and we're not living in the perfect time when in the redemption, yes, all one, we probably have endless love, we don't have all this structure, we don't need structures anymore. But as we still live here and we still operate in the human body, we still need the boundaries part. So we have expansion and construction. It's like the heart.
It's
like
the beat of life,
yeah.
basically. It's expansion and contraction. Everything is working like that. It's the pulse of life. So in each one of them, the right and the left side, we have head, heart, and pelvis. If we're talking about the right side, the head will be consciousness. And that would be like thoughts and ideas.
And yeah, an expansion of consciousness, things you can see, you can realize, thoughts, ideas, and expansion of the heart, what it will be.
Like giving.
Yeah, loving.
Giving, loving, holding space.
Embracing.
Exactly.
Unconditional love.
And the pelvis
will be
Making love.
It will be
both
action.
of them together.
What, Sophia?
It's like again, like the head is the masculine, the heart is feminine, giving, receiving, unconditional love, and the bottom is the union of both, maybe.
Yeah, the bottom of the right side is action. That will be action, which is it's a union. So I will write it as well, like just a buzzword, so we can understand.
Basically, the right side refers to the masculine as a whole, like giving, going out there, the water, the expansion, going out there like an arrow. And the left side, which is the contraction, refers to the feminine more, like inside, going inwards, receiving. Of course, we can find masculine, feminine in each, everywhere, yeah, but this is like the sharp, like dividing them sharply.
So if we had, sorry, to my side, I want to write.
Left.
So if we had
the left side basically was a contraction, going inwards, disappearing, boundaries, back to the source.
So if we had ideas on the right side, on the head section. So when we have an idea, what needs to happen next? How do you contract the idea?
To execute or
formulate, analysis, risk management,
calculations, planning, cost versus value, you know, like all the thing you have an idea, it comes as a seed, as a masculine, like, and then the feminine part, building it, constructing it. It's that's good, bina. It's bad.
The word bina.
That's bina. Bina. Okay.
That's where you build the idea.
As you see, chokhmah, it's vision. It's like, I get a vision, I see it now as a whole, like the seed contains everything. And then it goes to bina, which is the feminine side of the mind, which is development. In English, it's not really, but it's like develop the idea.
Analysis, development. And then if the heart here is all about giving and sharing, what will be the heart here, receiving,
No.
in a way, but it will be more about like respect and holding back for a second, and like the protection on the of the heart, because this side is contraction.
How it's related to Gvura?
We will talk about basically
So
Gvura.
it's not receiving?
Gvura, it's power.
לא בלב.
Gvura, it's power. It's also judgment. It's din. To say, okay, no, I need to like put a boundary. I need to fight for my rights. For like, it's power. It's taking responsibility. Also, the word taking, you changing something. It's not just free flow.
And then if we're talking
It's
about
the risk management. More like
That's the bina. It's the risk management in the head. Gvura, it's more towards the action already. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do an act on it.
this is like
I'm gonna use my power.
Protects us. So if here the heart is like cracking open and giving and sharing and being very out there, then here it's holding
Back to my power, claiming my power.
Yeah, and it's not negative. It's just something that we also need in order to be balanced. So these two creating the balance, which is the center.
Eventually, the left side, the contraction, creates freedom, because when we have clear boundaries, you know where you can operate, you know what you can do, what you cannot do. When you don't have clear boundaries, you are not really free to do what you want because you don't know, you have some uncertainty.
So now if we said that the on the right side, the masculine side, the pelvis area is action, what will be the sexual energy of the left side? Yeah, so more receiving, more surrendering.
Modesty.
Modesty as well can come here, but I would say surrendering is like the best word to use if we have one.
Sniut or surrendering.
Yeah.
It's humbleness. It's humbleness. Yeah, it's more like humbleness. If the right side is like going forward, no, let's do it. You know, let's fuck it. I'm gonna do it.
So this is helping us not to get into a mania and blast everything.
Yeah, so this is like, maybe I won't do it. Maybe I step back. Maybe I need to ask for some help. Yeah. What?
Think twice.
Yeah.
Think twice. Exactly.
This part is like think twice. This part is actually I'm gonna call for help. Or I'm not gonna do it. Actually, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna take a step back already.
Or surrendering.
It's both of them look to me like I am everything, I am nothing at the same time. So you know that you're both.
Yeah. You know that you're both. And what needs to come first? What do you think? Which side?
Surrender. I am.
When you walk into a room, what do people tell you? In which side do you enter? Right side. Right side always needs to conquer the left. It always needs to be a bit, you need to have a bit more of this energy than this energy.
Because grace and love is coming before the empty. Like the light created the vessel, right? Like, and also that's what we learned from the story of Akedat Yitzchak with Isaac and Abraham. When Abraham had to lakod at Yitzchak, Abraham
is this side
by grace, but Abraham is Chesed, the blue one in the middle on the right side, and Isaac is represented by Gvura. And what the story means is that Chesed always need to come above the din, on the judgment. Also, when you give someone like a dark feedback or judgment, you need to come with love. Say first the good things, then the bad things, then again wrap it with the good things, you know? Okay.
Exactly. First Shimu. And then also if you see statues of like Buddha and statues from the East, you see always the right hand on top of the left. Above, like this. So when we're coming to love making.
And just before, basically think about it as two legs. You need the right. You need the right and the left legs. You need the right and the left legs to walk, right? So also Kabbalists describe it as like the two wings, love and freedom, eventually. Okay, let's get to the...
So when we come to lovemaking, this is the head. So we have the three temples, we said. This is the head. So that's like kissing, right? Kissing happens in the head.
First base.
First
First phase.
Exactly. That's kissing. Then you want to feel the heart. Then it's like hugging, because you want to feel the heart energy goes from one heart to another. Only then you reach to the pelvis. So the importance of foreplay is not just to build the tension, it's also like a spiritual structure. So if you go by if you give respect to the three temples in the correct order, then your sex will be better, basically.
And it will be continuous. Like we said in the first lesson, you can get energy from the bank of Satan with being reactive to, I just want to sex now, or and then stay empty, or you can get from the bank of light. But in order to get the light, it needs to go through the pipes in the right order.
Does it say anything if you prefer one thing over the other? If you prefer hugging over kissing?
Yes, and also it doesn't mean that kissing is kissing and hugging is hugging. According to Kabbalah, kissing and hugging has like very deep secrets of what it means. But it's not just a shallow way of kissing in the mouth or hugging. It's about touch. It's about how you use your mouth, your air. It's
Yeah. But so maybe if you need more of the heart energy, that's a medicine that you need more of in the moment. So, but it's important to notice the three, like give respect to the three and not just jump into, because this is how sexuality often looks in our society. Yes, it's just genitals.
Yeah.
And the center line we haven't spoken about is the balance, is the presence. Like Sophia said before, the eye of the storm. This is the eye of the storm. So usually it's hard to maintain it. It's like there's a description of one of the rabbis. It's like life is like you're driving in a car while there's a tornado.
On the highway in like 20 kilometers per hour. And no, the 200 or 300. And
driving like your grandma.
And you're driving on the highway in a tornado and trying to keep your wheels straight. You know, that's how life. You always a bit on the right, more on the left or more on the right, and it's so hard to actually balance. But that's the work, and the majority of the work is be done in the middle, or at least to be able to be in the center. And that's also most of the secrets are revealed. Like most of the secrets in Kabbalah are in the center line. So we're not going to touch it today, but,
yeah, but that's the deal. That's
another class about the center.
The center. Maybe we'll do a Yosef.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, actually, I thought we'll do it. Yeah.
Wat je like each other lot.
So, what did we have next?
So the example before, just a bit more about the center. In order to reveal the light, so just summing up, we are at the end of the class. In order to reveal the light in this world, we need to allow the smooth traveling between the spheres. That's what we said.
Open the plumbing.
Exactly. Every step has its own way to create union and pass the light to the next step. Our work is mainly to balance between the right and the left. And every time we don't do it, we get energy from the bank of Satan. We do a shortcut. We try to get straight into a goal with our reactive nature without considering, okay, I'm more on the left, I'm more on the right. Where am I in my body? It's a potential for a shortcut, and no light will be revealed. We'll stay empty eventually. So when we talk about sexuality, going straight into the intercourse, yes, it's amazing. We'll have nice fraction, but without connecting through the heart first, as it says.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's the word that is written here.
What we said in the first in the first lessons, we talked about our reactive nature, and every time, like how to what we should do every time we recognize our reactive nature.
Pause.
Pause. Breathe.
The most difficult task. Don't
is a way to build a good, proper vessel. And also in Tantra, it's one of the practices.
Like to hold, not
Breathing, yeah,
hold,
pause, hold,
Sublime.
breathing, lifting, not
Hold your
being
ass.
reactive. Yeah, not to go with the.
Creating the
Also-
circuits.
But also for women, and a lot of women go in the masculine way, like I want to come, and it's the same.
Yeah, נכון, נכון. It's not only for
On the
men.
next class.
Well,
נתקדם.
Yeah,
You mentioned
so-
Tantra. Does Kabbalah have similar sort of practices for clearing pipes?
It had like all of the wisdom of Kabbalah is teaching us how to clear the pipes, basically. But it's not calling itself Tantra, but if you look at it on a sexual way, it's exactly what you need to do in sex as well.
Right.
So it's kind of like a sexual wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also a massage
So it's got
before.
the theory.
Oh my
No,
God.
really,
Yeah.
seriously. Massage
No
before,
practice.
it's clean
Yeah,
the
not
body.
as far as,
Like
yeah,
Maybe like a
And
hidden,
the power.
one of the hidden streams that are practiced.
yeah. There must be something.
Have you heard about
City.
Shabtai Tzvi? So in the year 1666, which the number is crazy, on Tisha B'Av, the day of Tisha B'Av,
Shabtai tzvi.
Shabtai Tzvi was born,
No
and
way.
he was considered a messiah. And the time that he lived in Turkey, he had like thousands of followers. He was a big thing, and he
More than
thought,
thousands, I think millions. No.
No, like
Ah,
tens of
after
thousands.
war.
Jumping.
Sorry, no. Sorry, no.
More than Jesus.
Okay.
No, sort of thing. And then
Brazilian.
And what happened was that he got so much, like so many followers that the government saw him as a threat. So he was eventually put down. But what he thought the sexual Kabbalah.
Yeah.
And he became so the Sultan or whatever the name was of the leader of Turkey wanted him to convert to Islam, and he did. And so
I converted to Islam.
he converted to Islam because otherwise he would be dead.
And what is
Also, one of
Islam?
the purpose, Yusuf is not,
For real,
the purpose, the purpose of that also based on the Shabtaim, on its believers, it's like to disconnect from the concept of religion. We need to disconnect from everything. Their practices were dealing with all
Yeah,
the
he was like,
things
fuck
that.
religion. I don't care if I need to be Muslim, I'll be Muslim.
Yes.
Religion doesn't matter because what matters is the direct connection with the divine. So he was teaching his followers practical sexual Kabbalah. They would do like the ceremonies, the orgies.
Like God is not.
The ceremonies, the orgies.
I think,
Maybe he's
yeah,
incarnated.
maybe.
Till this day,
This day shall pay
You
back.
see, just some credit to Ad Ezrahi in this, as you see his name there, and some of the content.
He's the one that did the Gever.
He's the one translated to Hebrew.
I know him.
פלט. הוא מלמד קבלה ומיניות. זה הקטע שלו.
Oh, he's
משנה,
guy.
הוא שותף של דור.
Anyway,
So שבתאי צבי, the group of people, רותם,
Yes.
the group of people, the Shabtaim, they believe to be still operating in Turkey. They're called the Donme, and it's believed that many of the leaders and the people that have like different positions but high status positions are from that, from the Shabtaim. Yeah, and all kinds of ceremonies like lighting a candle and then having swinger parties and all kinds of things that they do, which is the closest to like sexual Kabbalah being performed. So it's a fascinating character. Also, he had someone that was ממשיך דרכו, and his name was Jacob Frank.
Jacob Frank.
Is this disciple?
One of the most,
Like,
Jacob Frank was, it's like the biggest story in the Jewish history that was never told because it was repressed into.
But read about it, it's fascinating.
What's his name again?
יעקב
יעקב
פרנק.
פרנק.
שמשם אני מצלם.
כן.
הוא עודד לגילוי.
Jacob Frank.
חלק, that's one of the things that in some ceremonies there's some more context for that, but yeah. Anyway, exercise as we really need to finish. Check with yourself. You're more on the righty side or lefty? What
Right.
What is more, what is, and you can be different. Are you more expansion person or more contraction? And maybe it's different in different areas in your life. You know, maybe sometimes you're out there and you expand and inclusive, and sometimes you like more introvert, more contracting, more avoiding.
Also, in one love making, you can be different roles. Like you can.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
the person that is with you?
Very much.
Yeah, but you
yes.
can switch. Like I, for example, I can start by being like passive and surrendering, but then I take control and I'm being the active. So you can always switch between the energies, but it's good to be aware of what you're bringing because the other person needs to adjust themselves. Because think about it: if two are passive, no spark. If two are active, it doesn't work.
Too much.
So.
Yeah.
Back to the exercise, check yourself, where you see yourself more in different areas of your life, and recognize where you need, where you're more reactive and where is your comfort zone. And try to change sides sometimes. Try to pause, take a zoom out and not do the thing you would do usually. Same as walking, right and left, you use both.
I feel like
So-
it's a homework for everything.
So yeah, it was.
It's just everything I try to do in life.
It was, but now you have a bit more context. And all the work in Kabbalah is this balance, usually right and left. And meditate on it.
So when you're asking where are you more, is that on like on daily life, on the sex life,
On different
love,
area.
Everything.
On different area. You can be in sex, you can be more on the right side, and at work you can be more on the right side, and at home with friends you can be more on the left side, and in different situations. Try to just pause.
Just be aware.
If the first exercise was to pause, now it's like pause and actually meditate on it, you know?
But I loved also before you said, Sheila, that sometimes you're with different person, you play different roles. So that sometimes you are the woman and sometimes you're the man.
Exactly.
They need it because,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Magic happens between the polarities. When there's polarities, there is tension, there's electricity, there's magnetism. It happens only between polarities.
and between the polarities, it means in the center. And before even we realize it, like in interactions with other people, we need to find the balance in ourselves. And finding the balance is the center. And the center is not nothing. It's not like Parve, like not left and not right.
fun.
It's
I
actually
have a question.
the center is actually everything. It's all the colors in the rainbow.
I have a
And-
question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Robotic.
So,
Hi, Siri.
wait, okay, wait. Are you considered like, is the active person during sex or intimacy or lovemaking considered more active when they're on top? Is that more, are you talking about energetically?
No,
No,
it not necessarily, because you can be on top and be passive, and the other person underneath you is doing.
It's it's
Guys, it's taking a lot of care.
I'm just curious.
No, sex. Sex. Kids. Never seen boobs before.
But I would say it just depends who is the person that's doing the action. The
Okay.
position doesn't matter. Just where is the person? Who is the person that's doing the action?
and as we learned, it's never about the outcome or what you see and outside. You know, it's about the energy, like
Yeah, the
who is initiating the energy, who is moving. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait.
All right.
Yeah. So not necessarily position.
More questions?
Yeah,
Thank you. Okay, so
That's it.
wrapping up. That's it for today.
I
Thank
want
you,
to say that was
everyone.
the best class I have done with you.
This is
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sophia, Moshe, Jess. See you next time.
Thank you. It passed really quickly this time. Bye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we shortened it. We didn't let anyone know. We
Yeah.
I
actually
love it. I do the same. Don't know what this means.
Yeah, it's so that basically it's 1 hour and a half, but we started we
no,
started
but
late.
we decided to do the lessons just 1 hour. We
Yeah.
feel like it's better because you can
Absorb.
hold the
Yeah,
information
yeah.
better.
That's why what am
So yeah,
I was not
Yes.
really. Otherwise, I'm losing it.
All right.
so it's 1
Where's
hour.
bananas?
Thank you. Bye.
Stop the music.
בתיכון
Thank you.
Thank you.
באיזה דקה שאני רוצה ולחזור מתי שאני רוצה.